Welcome you to Porch Talk. This is your host, Alan, and I'm stretching out to where I spent a good bit of my life down in Mobile, Alabama, specifically just outside near that Mississippi-Alabama line in a little place on the border there. I got Camm Lewis here with me. Brother, how you doing?
Alan, I'm talking to you, dude. I mean, I got no complaints.
So, man, it's been a long time since you've been on the show. The first time you were on, I was just reaching out uh,
Yep.
to people like, I think he's interesting. Let's have him on. I was trying to get it out of Kennedy, and you obliged me then, and you're obliging me again.
Yeah.
But man, what a journey you've been on with the music lately, brother.
Dude, I mean, if you want to go down this talk about journeys, dude, you have taken over. I mean, it is weird to me because when you wrote me and said let's do this, let's run this back. Dude, it is crazy how long ago that's been. And I
Hmm.
literally sat in my shed in a lawn chair and talked to you, just holding my phone up to my ear. And I was green to it. I had no idea what to even talk about or how to even, you know what I mean? And then now to see it kind of like come in full circle, what you've done with the music and art scene in Columbus is just it's mind blowing, dude. Like I mean, it really is mind blowing. I was talking to Levi the other day, and I was telling him, I was like, dude, I said I'm not ever playing it. I said, but Porch Fest is probably the most fun I've ever had playing music and just being around music and music people in general. I was like, I'm telling you, dude, you better get on board with Alan before it's too late because the ship's only so big, brother, and you better get on board. And I'm happy for you, dude. Yeah, I've been doing cool things with music, but this right here is really cool, man, and I'm happy for you.
Yeah, man, what a journey it's been. I had a friend of mine call me this morning, and it was strange that we had this scheduled. He I guess he had just watched the new Twisters or saw the soundtrack for the new Twisters.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's like,
I know where you're going with this.
he's like, it's
Well,
so wild that you had the Red Clay Strays on Porch Talk. And I was like, what's crazier is I'm gonna be talking to the guy back before the Red Clay Strays were anything. Camm Lewis called me one day and he said, brother, if you ain't doing nothing, go out to Doherty's and go catch
yeah,
this band called the Red Clay Strays. And I took you up on
yeah,
that. I went out there by
yeah.
myself and I was like, my goodness, these cats are something else.
Well, dude, so obviously I know the guys, I would say, like fairly well. But me and Drew are probably tighter than anybody. And I can speak from experience and say that Drew is a good dude. I don't stick my neck out for a whole lot of people because, I'm not going to if I feel like they're not gonna represent me well. You know what I'm saying? If you stick your neck out for them. But so I say that and I mean that, with all honesty. Drew's a good dude because I just know him better. But I met those guys when I was trying to really get into the music scene in Mobile. And I watched him perform one night. It's a crazy story. So Sturgill Simpson obviously released Meta Modern Sounds, which to me is going to go down as one of my favorite albums of all time. And he come down to play the Wharf. So I mean, at that time, Sturgill was big, but he wasn't like the Sturgill he is now.
Uh-huh.
So I would play it like these venues over at the Wharf, and what they would do is like if you bought a certain ticket package for a show at the Wharf, 2 hours leading up to the show, you could come to one of the bars or like some little area, and it was all you could eat and all you could drink, and they would have live music leading up to the concert. So I was always the freaking dude that was just sitting on a stool playing, singing songs when you bought that ticket package. When the lady reached out, she was like, "Look, I can pay you X amount of dollars, or there's this guy named Sturgill Simpson coming to the Wharf. I can give you 5 tickets." I was like, "Give me the 5 tickets. Screw the money. I want to see Sturgill Simpson. I'm a huge fan." And that's where I met those guys. That night, they were playing a show at one of the venues at the Wharf, and Drew and Brandon come and listen to me sing because they had just seen all we were all playing the same venues on Facebook or whatever. And I met them, and they were super cool. We sat there and talked. We actually went to the Sturgill show at the Wharf. It was only like half capacity, which blew my mind. One of the greatest concerts I've ever seen. And then after the show, they were like, "Hey man, we're about to go on in like an hour. You want to come hang out and watch some of the show?" And I watched them play like Polk Salad Annie, dude. Like I don't know some CCR or something like. It was a group of young 20-year-olds playing, and I knew right then and there I was like, there's something there's something different. You know what I mean? Like you see a Division I football player come walking up in a crowd full of normal people, you're like, I mean, something's different, dude. And I seen them that night, and I was like, yeah, something is different about these guys. And I mean, it's apparent now. I mean, to me, in my eyes, just from the outside looking in, they're probably one of the biggest or hottest bands in America right now.
No
I
doubt
mean,
about
it's
it.
just unbelievable the run they're on.
Yeah.
You know,
And more power to them. I mean, one thing to represent Mobile, but to
absolutely.
represent the entire state of Alabama. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's really like music to me is never sound better than what it is today, and I'm incredibly proud of Alabama. I mean,
Hmm.
just in the air, you got Ross Newell, Reclay Strays, A
Sure.
Partridge, yourself, uh Garrett Howell, Eric
Yep.
Erdman. I
The
mean,
man.
I could
Yep.
go on and on and on, but then we go up to
Yep.
Birmingham and you have people like Early James and Taylor
Right.
Hollingsworth, and I mean,
Dude,
Alabama is just loaded right now.
like, you mentioned those names, and the fact that you even said my name mentioning those names is it's just really been hard for me to hear. But dude, Eric Erdman's been around the game a long time. Eric doesn't even really know me, but the dude is incredible. As far as songwriting goes, vocals, guitar playing, Eric's incredible. Now, there's another name you mentioned on that list that will always be one of my favorite songwriters, favorite vocalists, and they at one time were one of my favorite bands. Me and my wife would go watch them play, but the Mulligan
Mulligan
Brothers, which is
Brothers.
Ross, dude, like he's got a song called Thrift Store Suitcase that every time I hear it, I'm like, how do you how do you translate that? Like how do you get that, out of your head? Ross Newell blows my mind. He doesn't know who I am. But dude, I'm telling you right now, I would pay more money to see Ross Newell than I would ever pay to just about anybody you could hear on the radio ever. Mobile does have, I mean, it's incredible what Mobile has. And then, I've heard Early James, but I had never heard Taylor Hollingsworth. Okay,
Mhm.
until PorchFest. Taylor reminds me of like just like what we were just saying about the Strays. They're different. Me as an individual, as a human being, as a person, and as a self-proclaimed artist. Can you hear my rooster in the background crowing?
I cannot, man. I only hear you.
Oh, okay. I mean, it would only add to the, only add to who I am. But anyway, when I saw Taylor Hollingsworth at Porch Fest, I think I was sitting right where y'all were sitting. I was trying to find some shade over there by those trees and those steps, and dude, I can appreciate different. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, not just different, but good.
Mhm.
Just I'm sitting up there watching him, and I'm like, just and there's another guy, and I'll bring his name up after this, but Taylor Hollingsworth. I always see you post about him. Leading up to that event, you're always posting about Taylor Hollingsworth. Worth seeing, like in my personal opinion. And dude, I opened up for an incredible band this past Sunday night at the world famous Callahan's in Mobile, and tickets were $20, dude. It's 60 ticket capacity. And this band, and the guy's name is Dylan LeBlanc. You may have heard of him, you may have not heard of him, but I would highly recommend listening to him. Dude, they showed up, and for an hour and 15 minutes, they freaking melted my brain. And I'm like, for $20, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like for $20, you could people just don't realize what they're missing when there's so much great music that you'll never find on your radio dial, ever find on your radio dial. Like such true artists, people that are willing to just get by, just scratch and claw to survive, just to put out their art. And I don't know, it just blows my mind. Just like the guy I'm about to tell you about, John Keys.
Yeah.
So, dude, me and him have actually become. I would say we've become good friends. We message each other every week now.
Cam, there is no one like him on this earth. Like the first time I went up to Manatee in that Tupelo area to have
Yeah.
him on the podcast, I pulled up at his house and he came out with a baseball mitt and he was like, "You didn't happen to bring yours? You didn't happen to bring yours, did you?" And he was like,
Wow.
I'm really into getting into the creek beds and looking for cool rocks, and I like to play catch." And I was like, I love that.
Yeah. Dude, I think he literally, I think the Stiff Tones opened the show. Dude,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can go on and on about this. The Stiff Tones. Where else are you going to go and find that? I mean, y'all didn't charge anybody. It was this past year, PorchFest was free, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
It's been free for the past 5 years, and
Okay, so
I'm doing my best to keep it that way.
okay, even if it's not that way, if you got to pay $10, $20 cover, I mean, whatever, dude. People spend that on Red Bulls in 2 days at the freaking gas station or for terrible Mexican food somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
That's
But
true.
but the Stiff Tones opened the show. Me and Cassie, we drove in. It's about a 4 hour drive. I love the drive anyway. It's like 2 lane roads through freaking ag fields and cow fields and stuff. We drive into Columbus. We get there. The Stiff Tones, obviously are traveling in a hearse, traveling all over, just playing. And then they get up there, and at this time they were the first band, so there's not like people are like slowly trickling in. It's a little bit, but it's not a bunch of people. But they put on a show like there's 1,000 people standing in that courtyard. So I'm like, as a performer, as somebody who's got to get on stage and play crappy gigs all the time, like I can respect that. And they were just cool. They dress cool, their music's cool. And then this
Hmm.
dude with this fat mustache comes walking up and he's like, "Hey man, do you and your wife want to dance if I play a love song?" And I'm like, I said, listen, dude, I said, look around this place and look at all the cool, good looking guys walking around this place and look at me. Why don't you go pick one of the cool dudes that are walking around instead of picking like a 35-year-old goofy looking dude to get up and dance to your love song? I said, but if you can't find anybody else, dude, of course we will dance for your love song. I don't, I think somebody told him they were going to dance and didn't end up getting up and dancing, but he gets up there, John Keys, he gets up there and he starts playing his guitar, and I feel like he's playing like a melodic, like an Americana slash punk, like in a weird way that I've never heard. And then he starts, and I feel like he reminds like just like if I'm sitting there jamming out to just something that makes me want to go through a wall or like start a political riot or something. The way he starts singing with a grunge in his voice, I looked at Cassie and I was like, I am digging this. Like, this is incredible. Like, this is incredible. So when the set was over with, he's just lingering around, acting like no big deal. I walked up. I said, "Look, dude, you don't know me. I don't know you. I'm telling you right now, brother." I said, "I'm a fan." I said, I'm a legitimate fan. Is there a way I could stream your music?" Like, he was like, "Nah, man, nah, nah." And then so now we literally message each other weekly, and he just sends me songs and guitar riffs, and I write him all the time. I'm like, "How can I get you down here to like play guitar for me for a show at like Callahan's?" I'm gonna get that dude down here. So this is what we need to do, and I'm gonna proclaim it now. I'm putting it out there in the ether. I'm gonna get you down here. I'm gonna get
Okay.
John Keys down here. Okay,
We
Barney.
me and John Keys have played many a shows together, so that's a real good that would be a real good thing.
Look,
We are
y'all
familiar to that.
y'all are gonna come and y'all are gonna crash at my place. Barney and another guy from Nashville are coming down in November. All right, and I got us a gig at Callahan's in November. We might have to work this out, brother, but I need to get all you guys down here. And I actually got us 3 shows lined up. So we need to
Nice.
work something out, man. We need to work something out. I know you like to slap the bass a little, you know.
I, that is
We
true.
we yeah, we gotta figure something out, dude. But yeah, anyway, I don't even know how I got going on that. But
Well, man,
just yeah,
I'm glad you did because I mean, like, just like everything that you said is it's what I am trying to create for people, whether you're booked to come play at Porch Fest, because I tell everybody that I booked to come play, it's a 2 day. This year it's going to be a 3 day, or in
yeah,
2025 it's going to be a 3 day event. And I encourage everybody, if you can, come to all of it, be a part of it, and really take it in because like uh everyone that I booked, like I do all the booking, and there's a reason why I put them where I put them, and like
Yeah,
you'll see it really come together. I was there's Taylor Hollingsworth, John Keys. I mean, you could go through the whole lineup for Porch Fest, and like, uh, man, each of them are so stinking good at what they do, and they are incredibly unique, and there's nothing else like them on this earth.
right. And
And
this is another thing that I'll say too about how PorchFest was set up that I appreciated so much. Dude, you had acts from early James to me. You know, I don't like to really put music in a genre. I really don't. I don't even really believe in it, but you kind of got to. But you had Taylor Hollingsworth. I don't even know what you would put Taylor Hollingsworth or a Brother John Keys or early. I don't even know what you'd put those guys in. But then you get somebody like Barney Wells gets up there. Okay, Barney's freaking smooth as silk and Allman Brothers type vibe, and then Shake It Like a Caveman gets up there and blows. It's just like it. You just and it was and two, dude. I play a lot of songwriter. I say okay, I play a decent amount of songwriter events. The hardest thing for me is you get these people on stage and dude, you're so crunched for time. Like you've got to get them on and off. Like, hey, you get 40 minutes. Like 40 minutes, you've got to get off stage at 40 minutes. We got to plug this other person in, do sound check. Dude, PorchFest ran like everybody started on time. You were never just sitting there like waiting for 35, 40 minutes for the next artist. Even the people like Taylor Hollingsworth is getting up there with a freaking kick drum, pedal boards. Shake It Like a Caveman it was like a 5-piece band that you had to set up basically. And y'all did
Mhm.
that in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, the dude had people out there dancing in the rocks. It's insane.
I mean, that's me and Philip Sable, man. That's the guy that runs sound for me. He's been running sound
Cool
since
dude.
we've been doing it. That's
Yeah.
my right hand man. He's another third of Groove Johnson, our blues band,
Yeah.
where
Yeah, I
I
follow
slap
y'all,
at a
dude.
bass. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, and that is one thing that I ran by Phil or anyone who was sitting by us. If you are under this tent, this is a festival. I do not want this to feel like you're coming to watch your friend and his musician buddies play. I want this to feel like a festival. And what I meant
Right.
by that is we have time, we have structure. So when they finish, we help them get off the stage, help them get their equipment off, help the next person get on, get their sound check. Everything is moving. We're always moving.
Right. And
And I
y'all
mean,
and y'all did that. Yeah, and y'all did that perfectly. I dude, like I said, I played at one not too long ago, and it was the scenery, the setup, dude, it was perfect. You couldn't ask for a better setup. The people were there, but it got they had too many people on stage at one time. The sets were running way too long. People were starting an hour later at a minimum what they were supposed to. And I mean, it was cool and all, but at the same time, that if you invite people to the show, hey, I'm hitting this stage at 1 p.m. Okay, because I had people drive from not because not because I'm so great or anything, but I had friends drive from down here in Grand Bay, come up there to see me, and they got there. You told me, hey, you're starting at this time. Well, dude, I started at this time. I was on and off the stage. You come to me like 20 minutes beforehand. You're like, hey, before the guy before me played, like, hey, you're playing next. Just if you would, just kind of be over here, be ready. As soon as he gets done, we're gonna plug you in. All you need is your guitar. We're just gonna plug you in, dude. We're gonna do a sound check, and then you're gonna run it. And it just went perfect. Philip was up there, who I've kind of become friends with on Facebook because we know mutual people because he apparently was down here near Spanish Fort at one time. It's a small world, but like he plugged
yeah.
me in, run sound. He said, "What do you think, dude?" I said, "Listen, let's just roll. I mean, it's all good. People are having a good time. I'm not gonna sit here and try to be a diva. Let's just play music, And it was perfect, dude. Y'all knocked it out of the park, and not to mention y'all did it at hands down the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. Like we've got to get Dave Portnoy down there at some point. We've got
I've
to
already
figure it out.
I've already wrote him twice. I'm hoping that we can get him down here during football season if he wants to come see Tuscaloosa, Starkville,
Oh
kind of time it
yeah,
out. But
yeah.
it's crazy you brought up best pizza. We just we took home 3 or 4 awards in the Golden Triangle. That is
Really,
Columbus, West Point, and Starkville. We won best pizza, best craft beer
I'm not surprised.
selection, and best atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, dude, I'm not surprised. Look, when I came up there, it's hard to believe it's going on a year ago when I came up there and played that night at the Columbus Arts Council, which was, I mean, that's so cool. That theater that they've got upstairs, that's like
Hmm.
from the 20s, from the early 1900s. But me and Cassie got there, earlier that day when we run into you at Munson and Brothers before the show got kicked off that night, and we ordered pizza, and we walk in, and I think they were playing like some little feat, maybe they were playing like something you're not going to hear everywhere, and I was like, holy crap, that's freaking Little Feat coming over the speakers, and then I look around, and I'm like, okay, they got some vinyl records. Oh my god, they got handmade duck calls hanging on the wall over here for sale, and then
Hmm.
they dropped the pizza out. And I told Cassie, I said, I think my life has changed forever. I was like, I don't know if I could ever go back to the way I was. And dude, I'm telling you, I love pizza. Like I legitimately love pizza. And I kind of like every once in a while, I'll do like a food review at like venues I play at, just as like I'm not gonna give anybody a bad review. I'm just being an idiot, man. I'm just trying to have a good time, kill time
Yeah.
while I'm there. But we got a cool little pizza place down here called New York Pizza in Pascagoula, and actually they're opening one up in Grand Bay. But I went and done a pizza review for them. It's a totally different style than Munson's, but it's fantastic. And I was just goofing off and done a pizza review and put it on Facebook. Little did I know it was going to get shared all over the place. Get back to the owners of the pizza place, and then they contacted me and was like, "Hey, bring your whole family back. You're going to eat for free." And I'm like, that like to me that's really cool because they're locally owned. They're not chains. And Munson's when I got there, didn't know, I had no idea you were involved at the time when we first went there. And then, dude, I bet I spent during PorchFest, I bet I spent $150 on pizza in 2 days, and it was worth every penny.
Yeah, that was one thing I didn't have my hand on. In hindsight, it's totally fine. It worked out. But like I handled everything inside the garden, everything in-house, like with the beer or pizza, Munson was running that. Everything in the garden when it came to music or concerns like in the crowd
Yeah,
or whatever else, I was running
yeah,
that. And then I had somebody Gibson, he was running the street for me. And I should have booked the food trucks. Because I've had guys. You haven't seen my hometown Kennedy where I used to throw the festival. I used to throw it at my
uh-huh,
house.
yeah,
And dude, like
right,
middle of nowhere, like Columbus is the nearest big town, and it's 30 minutes. But I would have these food trucks come out to my house, and I'm like, it was a 2 day experience. Then, like people would come out and camp, and I would have
yeah,
food trucks. Like we'd have a food truck on Friday, then I'd have a different one come out on Saturday, and I was like, and I asked the guy running the street, you got food trucks covered because I work at Munson's and I work
right,
in the kitchen and I know what it's like to be overwhelmed all stinking day.
right,
And I was
yeah,
like, I don't want that for them. And the food trucks that he got, they never showed up. And I was like, well, next year I'm not gonna make that mistake. I'm gonna book them myself because like it's
yeah,
my event and I probably should have done that anyway.
right. I get that, and I could definitely see them being overwhelmed because them poor guys making pizza, man. Like, I mean, and they knocked it out of the park. Like, I'll give it to them. They knocked it out of the park. And see, and we hadn't even mentioned the fact that you had two stages. You had the stage outside, which is the one I played on. So that's where all my attention was at. I sat outside the whole time. But then you go inside, that's where all the drinks were at. And it just, the line stayed out the door the whole the whole event. So the bartenders were just, they done fantastic. The whole experience was fantastic, dude. I'm not just saying that just because I'm talking to you, but I promise you, and I'm gonna make you this promise that this year there's going to be a group of people from Mobile that will be there. I guarantee you, you'll have a dozen to 2 dozen people from Mobile just because I beat it in the ground all the time about how much fun it was. And I promise you, there will be people from Mobile that'll be booking hotel rooms and be coming to PorchFest 2025 this year
I'd
or
love to
next
see
year.
him. I would love to
Yeah,
see him. Like you mentioned, Levi, man, just all the people from the friendship family. Then I don't know where
yeah,
they are now, but I would. I was considering, I want to take a vacation and I just want to go to Mobile, and
yeah.
I just want to visit. And then
Right.
I started thinking about. I was like, well, how much time is that going to take? And I thought about it, and I was like, I'll need a week.
Oh, you'll need a
And
week. Yeah, for sure.
at least, it's just so much to just I just want to be able to sit down with everybody and spend just the adequate amount of time. I mean, it's just,
Right,
the older we get and like life just gets everything starts moving faster and faster. Next thing you
yeah,
know, it's like I haven't spoke to him in 3 years.
right. Yeah, unfortunately, that happens. And like you said, the older you do get, the more you start to think about that. Even though in the grand scheme of things, we're still fairly young. If we were athletes, maybe not. If we were playing a professional sport, but I mean, look at me.
Yeah.
It's obviously I'm not in that category. But yeah, I mean, it is weird how that happens. Just like for instance, it was a long time before me and you really talked or hey, what's up? And then I wrote you and you were like, hey, and this was last year, and you were like, hey, actually, why don't you come play in a songwriter round? Which ended up meeting Barney and Drew, and
Hmm.
I would say I talk to Barney on a daily basis. Since then, Drew, man, I mean, it's a shame it has to get to that point, and I'm really trying to make it a point to if somebody is on my heart, or if I'm just thinking about somebody, I'm trying to make it a point to reach out to them because I feel like God's laying that on my heart. Like, hey, there's a reason they're on your mind. Maybe
Yeah.
they need hey, how are you doing? Man, I miss you. Or like, what the heck's going on? Why are we not talking more? I love you. Whatever. And I'm really trying to make it a point, even to tell people, hey, I love you. Or I text them, shoot them a text, or talk to you because I really mean that. And if God forbid something were to happen, you know what I mean? If something were to happen, because you never know, man. And I try not to live my life that way, but you don't ever know. You could be driving home from work and say bye to your family or say bye to your wife or kids. Hey, I'm on my way home, and not say I love you, and then never speak to them again, or if they
Yeah.
never speak to you again. So I'm trying to make it a point to do that, and being in the music scene, meeting these people, me and you reconnecting. That's the whole point of all this. I mean, you can measure success in so many different ways. I've never experienced like success in the music industry, like super successful. But in my eyes, I am super content with where I'm at, just because of the most unlikely relationships that I've built with people, only because of music. And it just blows my mind, man. Honestly, it really does blow my
Uh,
mind.
yeah, brother, please don't get any kind of hurry. With everything that you're doing, I think you're doing it in the right stride. You're doing everything the correct way. And like just to tell you, I've been let's just take this open mic that I've been hosting at Monson's for
Yeah,
about 2 years now.
right.
It might be a little bit more than that. And so we've just over the past 3 4 months, we've had these young guys come in, 16, 17, 18 years old, cutting their teeth. And I know they're music teachers. I know they're guitar teachers. They come to the open mic. Those are the
Yeah,
guys that told them go find Alan at Munson
right.
Brothers, go to his open mic. And he's gonna teach you the next thing you need to learn. And
Yeah,
so man, and one of them wants it the most. He's at everyone, and he's about to start seeing the fruit of his labor.
right.
When he first started coming to the open mic, he was real robotic on the stage. You, and when he got off the stage, I pulled him to the side. I was like, "Brother, you did great. The talent, the skill is there. You did fine with your guitar work. You did good singing. The only thing I need you to do, and if you got this, it's fine. If you don't, we can find you one. But you need to sit down or stand in front of a mirror because like you got the talent, you just don't have the presence yet. And I was like,
Right.
play those songs in front of a mirror, watch yourself playing them, and like become the person that you want to watch on stage. And
Right.
just to see that progression over 3 or 4 months, and I'm telling him at the next open mic, which is not this coming Thursday, but the next, that the next shows that I get, if he wants them, he can open for me. And so
Wow.
if he wants to come with me to Tupelo, if he wants to come with me wherever I'm going,
Yeah.
he can open for me in Birmingham, wherever he wants. Like he has put the work in, and that is
Right.
something that we've been trying to cultivate with our open mic scene. Like with these youngins, you obviously like music, you're pursuing music. Uh, we want to help you learn how to write and craft a song, but also we want
Mhm.
to help you with stage presence and also playing outside of your town. And he's
Right.
ready, he's there.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to him going out on the road with me.
Yeah. That's neat to have, as a young person, to have somebody that's not jealous of you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's willing to
Yeah,
actually help you and not see you as competition. Rising tides raises all, it raises all boats. And that's
amen.
and that's one thing, I've had to learn is this. What does that saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. I sound like I'm being all philosophical right now with two quotes back to back like that. But with music is not a sport. It's not a competition.
Mhm.
Music is an art form and it's subjective. You might hear something and say, "Nah, I mean, yeah, he sounds good, but it's just not my style." And somebody else might hear it and say, "I'm in love with that. That's
Mhm.
fantastic." And and that's one thing I've tried to celebrate. You mentioned his name earlier, Garrett Howell. Dude, me and Garrett, you know how long me and Garrett's been kicking around playing music.
Mhm.
We played some of the crappiest gigs that you can possibly play. But I tell Garrett all the time, which he's in the middle of making an album, Garrett Garrett lacks nothing as far as being a professional musician. Vocally, Garrett's as good as anybody I've ever heard.
Mhm.
Guitar playing, Garrett's as good as anybody I've ever heard. Songwriting, he's as good as anybody you'll meet and listen to their songs. But dude, he's buying his time, and you got to be okay with that. Just like you're talking about, you helping these people out. I haven't I haven't necessarily made it anywhere. Do I get to play cool shows? Of course. Do I get to open up for some cool artists? Dude, unbelievable some of the things I've got to do. But nothing worth having should be an overnight thing. You know,
Mhm.
you should play the crappy gigs. You should play for nobody. I mean, I know people probably hear these stories all the time from especially these big artists, but I swear to God, I've played for nobody. I've sat there and played at Mexican restaurants for the bartender for 3 hours on a Tuesday night. And then I call my wife on the way home and be like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself out there? Why am I doing this? Drive an hour home, get home, and get my guitar out and start playing music again.
Well,
And
I mean,
then
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, and I'm just saying that's the why. That's the why you're doing it. That's why these guys and these girls are sacrificing so much, getting in a car. I see these artists come into like Callahan's. Dude, they're driving in from Texas, playing a show to Texas the night before. They're driving all the way to Mobile, Alabama. They're getting out of their car. I help them set their merch up. And they hurry up and eat a burger. Then they got to perform and play a show. And then they get put up in a hotel room for a night and they wake up and have to play at a venue in South Carolina the next night.
Mhm.
And but it's because they're compelled to do that. It's something inside of them that you can't explain unless it's inside of you too. You just can't explain that. I mean, I know you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you got to do it. Like
Yeah.
you have no choice but to do it. And the older I get, the more I realize that I'm going to do this. Whether it takes me no further than where I'm at now, 20 years from now, I'm still going to be playing my guitar. I'm still going to be writing songs. I'm still going to play a venue if they ask me to play. And, but I've had people like what you're doing with these guys. Dude, perfect example. Abe Partridge. You know Abe well.
Hmm.
Years ago, this has been I don't know, and you probably played a show there at the Pelican Reef back in the day.
Oh yeah, we
You
held a
played show, yeah,
residency there.
yeah, that's right. All right. So this has been like 8 years ago, I feel like. I played a songwriter open mic night there with Abe and Drew Nix from the Strays. I didn't know Abe, I knew Drew. I didn't know Abe. After the show, Abe pulls me to the side in the parking lot, and and I don't want to get the title of his album wrong, but he had just released an album called like White Trash Lipstick. I feel like
That's what it
uh,
was.
okay, White Trash Lipstick, and he gives me his album, and he was just super complimentive, man. Like just talking about my vocals, my songs, and I'm like, I don't even know this guy. He's like sitting here telling me, like, giving me tips on like this is what I'm doing, man, and it's helped me. This is what you should do. Stop singing other people's songs all the time. I know you got to do it sometimes. Push your songs. Keep writing. If you think they're bad, sing them anyway, because somebody might think they're great. You know,
Yeah.
and when I opened for Gabe Lee back in December, Abe was there. And when the show was over with, Abe was telling me, he's like, "Hey, dude, man, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy to see you doing this. I'm so happy for you." I said, "Do you know, like 7 or 8 years ago, there was this dude that was telling me, like, hey man, you need to really pursue this. You need to push your music." And he was like, "That was me." I was like, "I know, Abe. That was the whole point of me telling you that." I was like, "I
Yeah.
know it was you, brother." But man, it's cool that you're doing that. It's cool that you're doing that for people because, I know you too, and I know you're not doing it in a way of like, trying to hurt feelings or jealousy. You're doing it in a way of like, hey man, I've seen a lot of artists. I play music, and I've got to see some really cool artists, and this is what I see that's making them successful. So
Hmm.
if you start doing this, maybe it'll help you out a little bit.
Well, and just over the past year and a half, I've been real blessed to kind of come into the fold with the comedian scene in
Hmm.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I'm talking to comedians about the art form of comedy, and it's so apparent to me outside looking in to comedy to what they're talking about, and it was I was somehow blinded to it when it came to music, Cam, is you're not considered a comic until you have 10 years of uh getting your balls busted and
Yeah.
bombing at open
Yeah.
mics.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
I didn't, I
that
never heard that.
that is exactly the way it is in music. Some of
Yeah.
us some of us know somebody, and so and knowing somebody will get you a head start. But typically,
Right.
like uh dude, I mean, go to the Red Clay Strays 7, 8 years ago. I was seeing them play at Doherty's and, to a crowd of 30, 40 people. And now look, they
Right.
sell out wherever they go, just an
Right.
example. And so, like, what I'm telling these young bucks as they're coming through, or even like people who have been in music who just kind of stalled out, burnt out, and are now coming back to it, is dude, this here we are at Munson Brothers at this open mic. We have facilitated this great crowd that comes
Hmm.
out to every open mic and supports us. And
Yeah.
you can hear a pin drop at our open mic. I am so proud of
Wow.
what I'm so proud of what we built.
Yeah.
Like the people who come care, and
Yeah.
I always pull the youngins aside too. Like, when you're doing good when all the phones come out. And I'll pull a
Right.
youngin aside. I'll be like, look, everybody's cheering on you, buddy. They're recording him, dude. They're probably gonna put it
Right.
on social media. It's gonna go on a story. I was like, that is
Yeah.
what like it sucks that's the needle that we're looking at. But I was like, that's how we know. So
But that's
be
the
it
needle. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
be attentive while you're on stage. Figure out what brought that movement, what moved that needle while you were on there. Figure that out, and let's
Right.
pursue that. And
Right.
it's man, we are having the time of our lives. We do 2 open mics a month, and man, we're just having a damn ball with it, brother.
Yeah. Well, I text you last week or whatever, and I said, hey, are you still doing open mics? Because I'm gonna shoot you a text on a Thursday. On a Thursday coming up, I'm gonna shoot you a text and be like, hey man, I'll see you in a few hours. Because I'm
All
gonna
right.
come up there. Just to come up there, I don't even have to sing at the open mic. But me and Cassie are gonna come up there just to make ourselves sick on pizza, hang out, and listen to music. Because
If don't bother with a room like I've got a great guest room at the house y'all can crash at
yeah,
if
yeah,
need
that would
be.
be
Just
that would be
just just
fun,
let me
dude.
know
But
if like man we've been blessed on this is dude I just had a guy from Michigan, a singer songwriter, uh and he's gonna swing back through, but like we have so many people reaching out whether through Porch Talk or Munson Brothers right now. We've heard a whole lot about your spot, what y'all have going on. We want to play for y'all.
yeah,
We want to come through. We're on our way from Texas to Florida or
yeah,
whatever the case, and you're right in the middle, and that's right where we want to be. It's like, yes, please
yeah,
come. So I mean,
yeah.
yeah, dude,
Which
come
is
on.
what what you're building is. I don't know how to build that. I don't know how to do that. But from experience, in my personal opinion, and Gabe Lee talked about it. Um, I am fortunate enough to just be a guy that gets to play at Callahan's on a regular basis. Okay. The JT that owns Callahan's is hands down one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. He's become a great friend. And just the amount of artists that he's got to come to that place Jason Isbell, Tyler Childers, obviously the Strays, John Paul White, Robert Plant, the
Y-
Alabama Shakes. I
You
mean,
have to play at the Blue Canoe in Tupelo, Mississippi, Cam.
dude, I would love to do that. I've actually shot them an email, but I know that I'm sure their inbox is full of musicians that
Well,
are
they
just,
they book they book 6 months out, but like
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
but
Cole Chaney played there with Thomas Sorba, and
mhm.
then the very next night they come and played Callahan's. So, that
It
what you're building, what my point is it can Munson Brothers can be Callahan's of Columbus. Like there's no doubt in my mind that what you're building can be that because you have the vibe of that place is no different than the vibe of Callahan's Irish Social Club. You know,
mhm.
the people who work there, I met the guy who owns it. Um, they're no, his the whole vibe that y'all are building there is built for the artist.
Hmm.
And when you build that kind of vibe, the artists want to be there. They know when they come there, they're going to be welcome with open arms. Obviously, you're going to get the occasional dickhead come through there because some artists can be that way sometimes, but they'll weed themselves out eventually. But like when you talk to Gabe, when you listen to the interview you done with Gabe, dude, he was raving about it. Just raving about it because people paid their money, they bought all of his merch, and then they sat down while he was singing his songs. Like you said, you could hear a pin drop in that place. And when his songs were done, they were just clapping,
Roaring.
cheering, ready for the next song. Yeah, they were there for the artist. And JT has built Callahan's to be like that. That's how come he can get the Gabe Lees or the Dylan LeBlancs that just come through there, or the Strays, or
Hmm.
that's how he gets those people because they know this is going to be a killer show. The guy who runs the place is going to take care of us. We're going to sell our tickets because, just like it's like winning takes care of itself. If you win football games, you're going to sell out stadiums. But when you start bringing in these artists, you're gonna
Hmm.
50 tickets goes when he does like Tommy Prine's coming next month. John Prine's son and Abe's opening for him. So I went ahead and texted him the other day. I was like, dude, I want tickets. Like I know they're gonna sell out, and they are. They're sold. They're already sold out. But I'm gonna get to go. And I text Abe just as a backup contingency. I text Abe and was like,
Yeah,
hey,
I really
help a
want to
brother
be
out. But
there.
yeah, I just letting you know, man. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. So I see you're opening for Tommy Prine.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're doing that, dude. I'm telling you, I got the same vibe that I get every time I go to Callahan's. You're building the same atmosphere, man. Yeah, like y'all are doing it. you're doing it, and you're doing it the right way. You're taking care of the artist. You're not, and by say taking care, like I said, you show up. Y'all got the sound going on. You've got guys helping whatever needs helping for these guys that have been on the road, these guys and girls that's been on the road traveling.
Hmm.
And y'all are building just an incredible venue with incredible food, incredible drinks, and an incredible vibe and atmosphere. And the artists are going to continue to just flow through there's no doubt in my mind. And I'm going to go ahead and speak it into existence now. A year from now, y'all will have like the Gabe Lee that comes through there and plays who blew my mind. Did you get to see his show when he played at, what is it, the Barn series or whatever?
Oh
Was you
yeah.
able to catch his
Uh,
show?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah, he's
unbelievable. I'm
fantastic.
glad you brought him up. I hope he watches this or listens to it because I have not forgotten about you, Gabe. I am gonna mail you a record. I have been
Yeah,
screwing that up for almost a month or however long it's been. You're gonna get it. But yeah,
yeah.
I promised him a Porch Talk vinyl. I was like, I
Oh
want you
wow,
to hear this. I was like, I think you'll really dig it.
that's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, look. I was a fan of his, and then when JT asked me, he's like, "Hey man, you want to open for Gabe Lee?" I was like, "Dude, I just want to meet Gabe Lee." I was like, "I don't have to open for him. Just let me go meet him in the green room and hang out." But he had been on the road, just like that's another band, dude. I knew I was forgetting Susto. I don't know if you ever listened to Susto.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, they just played Callahan's like 2 months ago. Okay, I went and watched them. Unbelievable, just unbelievable. But I got to, like with Gabe and Justin Osborne, they dude, they've been on the road. They're traveling. A little peace and quiet, I'm sure, is what they're looking for sometimes. But like so down to earth, man, giving me advice. Just we talked about music, especially I had a chance to really talk with Gabe more just because I opened for Gabe and was able to hang out with him in the green room for a little while. But like, so you become a fan of his music first because you don't know the guy.
Hmm.
But then when you meet him and he's offering up advice, which he doesn't have to do, you know, he doesn't have to do small talk with you. I mean, this guy's on the road. This guy knows he hangs out with, writes songs with Brent Cobb, just produced Zach Meadows' new album. Like, here I am, Camm Lewis from freaking Podunk, Grand Bay, Alabama. Just this dude that's opening up a show for him, but he's just genuine, down to earth. And then he gets up there on stage and sings some of the, just to me, he basically sang a book, in my opinion. He just was singing songs
Yeah.
that, just unbelievable. I'll be a fan of Gabe Lee for life because his music is great, but also because he treated me with kindness when he didn't have to. So I'll be a fan of Gabe Lee for life, man. He's incredible, dude. He is so incredible.
Same way, dude. When I showed up to the barn, I was late. I was coming from Amory about 45 minutes north, and I was running late. I got there a little late. They were sitting down eating. Steve Ellis, the guy that runs the barn, introduced me. He's like, "Hey, this is Alan. He's the guy that's doing the
Yeah,
podcast. Are you still interested?" And he was like, "Yeah, we'll do it, no problem."
yeah,
And it was only supposed to be 15 minutes. Ended up being almost 30. And that was just cause like Gabe was that good to me. Like I was
yeah.
ready to end it at 15, but like
Right. Yeah,
we, we were both having a good time and I was like, well, let's have a longer conversation. We're having
yeah,
fun.
yeah. It
And
was a good podcast, dude. I listened to it. It was a really cool podcast.
Gabe's the man. Yeah. Well, brother, I don't want to make you squirm too much, but I did want to spend a little time with you and talking
Yeah,
about songwriting process is
yeah. Absolutely, man.
man, hot off the press. Tell us a little bit about the Juco King. That was going to be the song I'm going to play at the end of this episode, man. Uh,
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, Alan, it's a biography. It's kind of funny, but um, I mean, you know my story. You know my backstory. You know what kind of what
Hmm.
happened, what's going on. But I just I don't know how to really. I wish that I could write in a way that's like just make up these really cool stories, and like I, but I don't know how to. Even when I read a book, I like biographies. I like documentaries. I only read biographies, not by like just because I'm a snob or something. It's just what I'm into. So I have a tendency to write that way because it's easy for me to get in that headspace. But Juco King was dude, I was just sitting at home one day and we were talking about. I remember whenever I come home, I kept saying like my dad will just get me on at the shipyard with him, and I was saying it like so nonchalant, like it wasn't a big deal, it's just a shipyard. And little did I know, being young and stupid, 18-year-old, immature kid, how hard of a life it is, to work down there and to support a family. And I got hired on, dude, and my dad, me and Cassie had when we first got married, we had moved into a camper on a piece of property, and we didn't have anything, and we upgraded and moved into a trailer park over here in Grand Bay. We moved into a single wide trailer over here in Grand Bay in a trailer park, and my dad would literally pull up outside of our master bedroom window every morning at like 10 minutes till 4 and honk the horn, let me know he was there, and we would get in the truck and we would drive. And we, where the Oaks gas station is at on Highway 90, sell the hot dogs, the famous Oaks hot dogs going into Mississippi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh
we would
yeah.
we would get, near the gas station every morning, and he would pull in there, and I would go out over in the grass and I would throw up. I would legitimately throw up because, man, my anxiety, my nerves, I was tired. I just didn't really know how to deal with it. And my dad would always say, and this is how the song got started. My dad would say, "It's all right, bud. You'll get used to it." And now at 35 years old, I realize, like, either he's the only person on this planet that gets used to waking up at 4 o'clock, or he was just telling a straight up lie. But you don't get used to waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Um,
You can go to bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and wake up at 4. You're still going to be tired. And I would always be like, 4 a.m. you don't get used to. So I just, man, that line just kept getting stuck in my head. Like 4 a.m. you don't get used to. You don't get used to it. So I just put that together. I said, because I'd been in junior college on a baseball scholarship, and that only lasted just a few months because I just went up there and acted like an idiot and never went to class and just was living it up. And I said, back home, I was the Juco king, a gut full of pride with a head full of steam. But 6 months later, I was clocking in the same dang place my daddy did. And I was like, dang, that's kind of, I'm kind of proud of that. And I was like, but I've got to find a way to mix that 4 a.m. line in there. I've got to find a way. So I said, you can't go cheap on a pair of work boots, and 4 a.m. you don't get used to. But when the babies come and the bills do too, that don't leave you with much to choose. And I'll be honest with you, like, I know that's not prolific, or that's not something Dr. Jordan Peterson would say that would, like, change
it's
people's
real,
lives.
dude.
But
It's
it,
real.
but to me, it, even now thinking about it, it's hard for me not to get emotional thinking about it. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. And that's just where it got to. That's just where the point was at. Is that's how I was feeling at, that's just how I was feeling at that point in my life. Now we have been so blessed, man, just through hard work and dedication and faithfulness to God and faithfulness to each other. We're our kids have an incredible life. But at the time, dude, I felt like, and I'm sure you can relate to this at some point in your life, but at the time, I felt like that I'm literally, my head is not even above. Just my head was not above water. I felt like everything that I did, I was fighting and clawing just to do it. Everything that I did was a fight, and I know everybody can relate to that at some point in their life. But so that's just what the song was. When I got to the chorus, I was like, where am I going to take this? Because I didn't want it to be like a comedy. I didn't want it to be like a funny song. So all I could think was at that, it brought me back to that time in my life. And all I could kept saying to myself was, I was trying. I was really, really trying. So
Mhm.
that's where that, that little bridge section, it just come in. And I said, baby, I'm trying. I swear to God, I'm trying, because that's how we talk. Like, I swear to God, I really, I swear, that's just how us, Southerners talk, I swear to God, man, or I swear. And, it just came out. And when I started singing at places, people would come up to me and like, Gabe Lee was actually one of them, which really blew me away. He come up to me at the Callahan show before he went on stage. He said, "Dude, I like that. I really, really like that." And I was like, "What? What?" I,
You,
I just never expected that.
you know we call you the Juco King up here now, don't you?
That's what I hear. I got a friend, a mutual friend of yours and mine, Sean, and just as a joke, we were sitting at PorchFest, and Cassie had a shirt on. It was me in a pair of overalls with no shirt on underneath, and I was had my safety glasses on, and I printed it on a shirt and wrote JUCO King above it, and got it for like just goofing off for her. And I showed Sean the picture, and he put a little crown on top, like photoshopped a crown on top of my head, and I was like, dude, that's actually pretty funny, man. I was like, I might have to rework that a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, as far as songwriting process, I know you write too. Everybody has their everybody has their thing that they come, that inspires them. You know how it is, dude. Like one day you feel like you can grab the pen and sit down, and it's like your hand just moves without you even thinking. And there are songs. I have a notebook. I have a leather notebook. It's probably got 50 songs in it. And some of the songs I wrote 3 years ago, but like I just can't find a bridge or a chorus section of it. And then there's some songs that I sing that I wrote in like 5 minutes. And it feels right. So I've tried to listen to seminars. I've listened to interviews with Jason Isbell, with all these artists about their songwriting process. And one thing that I found that I relate to so much with the people that I listen to is honesty. People can smell the BS, dude.
Mm.
And they really can. So I take pride in being able to just, whether it's mediocre guitar playing, mediocre vocals.
Oh,
I just,
come on.
just want to be honest with people. And I'm not saying that fishing for compliments, but I really want people to know that I'm just I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest with people. And if that is what relays in my music, if you hear it and you're like, yeah, I get that. Like I get that, that's what I'm trying to accomplish.
Well, brother, I'll tell you this is, whether it be shown, multiple people have brought you up at Monson Brothers, wondering when you're going to come back, whether
Yeah,
they caught you at the Columbus Art Council in the Nova Theater and then came and
yeah.
caught you again at Porch Fest. But people people been asking about you. They'd like to see you again.
Well,
So
that's cool, man.
I
Yeah,
can't wait. I can't wait till you get back up here, because I know they'll want to hear you. And that's one thing about
yeah.
your
Well,
music and the songs that you are sharing, and it's authentic, it's honest. And brother, like that line about 4 a.m., I had a stint for about a year to where I was working at Ingles, and
yeah. I remember that.
if I didn't know your background, of when you said that line about don't go cheap on boots and you never get used to 4 a.m., I knew exactly what you were talking about
Yeah,
without even knowing you. If I took
right,
that out and I
right.
was like, yeah, like you never, like I can't tell you like how many times I pulled up in that parking lot so early in the morning. You get there early just to get a good spot so you can get out
Yeah,
quick.
right.
And you go back to sleep or whatever you do in that parking lot. And there have been so many times to where I just remember like just throwing my, the back of my seat back in the truck and laying back, not trying to go back to sleep, but just to
Yeah,
where nobody could see me. And I was like fighting
right.
tears and just praying to God. I was like, God, God, please give me somewhere else I could go work. Oh my God,
Right,
this is horrible. Please get me out of here.
right. But you were trying.
Yeah,
At least you were trying. And
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, that's what I can say is I've got friends that still work. Dude, my dad's been down there for, forever, and you know, he's trying. I mean, people are that's the songs that I want to write is for people like me or people like you, for
Mhm.
the American, or not just the American, but for the people that are trying. I was going to say, like, for the American people that are out there fighting tooth and nail every day, just because their goal is to provide. Their goal is to, you know, a lot of us have goals, these big goals, these big dreams, but you know, I have a line in a song that in another song that I wrote, and it says, you know, um, at when I was a small town kid with big time dreams, but sometimes dreams are just dreams, but I wouldn't trade a thing for what I got now. And that's the kind of songs that I want to write, whether they be good or whether they be bad, because for me, that's how I know how to talk about it. Some people can go, and I'm personally never been to therapy. I'm not saying anything bad or anything about therapy, but for me, and you understand this as an artist, it is my therapy. That's my sitting on a couch and talking to a therapist, is grabbing a guitar and writing what I feel. That's what I feel. I feel like, I am trying. Whether am I trying, maybe I need to try harder, but I swear to God, I'm trying. And Juco King it just come out like that. And the title, my wife was like, I think Juco King would be a good title, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that went to junior college and, didn't quite make it, just like me. But yeah, dude, it's just a song about my life, brother. I mean, that's about a certain point in my life. It's something I had to get off my chest. That was my songwriting process. Was I was thinking about that time of my life and about how difficult it was, but I was also in a way proud of myself, because I know that even though I would also be in tears thinking about it, waking up, my alarm clock going off at 3:45,
Mhm.
I was also proud that I was at least trying. So that's how that song come about for me. So I'm proud of it. It may not do nothing, but as long as me and you're talking about it, I'm proud of it. So
Uh, well, brother, I know you got several fans here in this part of town. I know that for a
yeah.
fact. And let
Well,
me
that's
tell you,
cool.
like I think like just going back for a second about like the pursuit, and you had mentioned it earlier, like maybe it is the Mexican restaurant and you're playing just to the bartender and you get back home, but you're pulling the guitar back out, or maybe you just are dropping your first song on the streamers such as Spotify or Apple Music or just Bandcamp, whatever you're doing out there,
Right.
is that thing that you are continually chasing and coming back to. Um, just and this is not so much for you, just for people in general. I'm telling myself
Yeah.
is uh there's something about that pursuit. And like I find it in scripture, specifically in the Old Testament when it comes to Abraham or Moses or any
Hmm.
of any of those guys who get called out of what I would call just what's the they were called out of obscurity.
Right.
They were just everyday dudes. Like like
Right.
Moses was a shepherd. He got good at that.
Right.
He was a family man. He was good
Right.
at like keeping his livestock up, and then God called him on this journey to set a people free.
Right.
And so, like, man, as my life has had all these twists and turns, and man, I appreciate the compliments for what we have in this music scene here. And like, that is something that I've been working and cultivating for years now. And like, we're beginning to see the fruit of the labor. And it's not just my labor. There are so many people who work
Right.
alongside me to help it be realized, because
Yeah.
it is the rising tide that raises all ships. But I can't do it on my own, and I'm not foolish
Right.
enough to think that I can. And I'm so
Right.
thankful for all the help that I have, and like for the people who come out of town to bless us and to help us along the way. But like, if you are continually called back to something, that's that is what I would call a calling. And
Yeah,
and
you're exactly
and
right.
and like success. There's an episode that comes out this Thursday with JD Spencer, and we spent a good bit of time talking about that. He's a singer-songwriter in this area, and he's
Hmm.
phenomenal. Um, he'll be at PorchFest 25,
Okay.
uh, but JD and I were talking about this because like he was a professional musician, like working these cruise ships, and would be out at
Hmm.
he would be out at sea 9 months, and they require you to take a 3 month to where you just have to stay. You can't be on the ship. You got to go home. And
Yeah.
he shared that like that was the hard part, like being out on the boat and being a performer and doing all that. That was the fun and easy part. It was not having a home, not having somewhere to belong or to have anything with, and it led him to
Right.
all that money that he made. He spent it, and then he was going right back
Yeah.
like 3 months later and starting from ground zero again.
Right.
And he didn't get that right
Yeah.
until his wife came into his life. So thank God for those good women. Um,
Right. Amen,
but
brother.
uh, but like, yeah, it's just a little bit at a time. And like I know our focus and of our provision, like we're dudes. I mean, especially when you have a family, you want to provide. I mean, that's your number one thing.
Right.
We got to keep these kids fed and keep everybody happy. And
Right.
but then we get to these points of calling, and I don't think it's overnight, but I do think it's worth pursuing, and I think that
Right.
God, or however you want to put it, will give us the people that we need uh,
Right.
when we need them, and that journey will go as it needs to go.
Agreed. Yeah. Me and Cassie, we're actually talking about. Well, I say we were actually talking about. We were just driving down the road the other day to go get lunch, and she said, What are you gonna do if you get an opportunity to maybe go on the road for a couple weeks to go play some cool venues? What are you gonna do? I said, Oh no, that's not. And she said, No. What I'm saying is, let's prepare for that.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead and prepare for that. Let's let's start thinking about it. Let's and that's the thing, man. Is before I opened for Gabe Lee, I sat in my foyer in my living room and I played my set probably 15 times over the course of a week. Played my whole set, and I envisioned myself being there in front of people. What am I going to say about this particular song before I sing it, to talk about it? What am I going to do? And that comes with, like you were saying, we've talked about it a couple times this episode. That comes with maturity. It comes with time in the saddle, playing crappy gigs, like doing all that stuff, and it all is in good timing. Like, if you just keep grinding, like I said, and I'm not even one to really be given a whole lot of opinion on that. I've never been on the road for weeks at a time. I've never done anything like that. But since I've been playing this whole musical journey that I've been on, I worked a minimum 40 to 50, 60, 70 hour weeks, get off work, soaking wet with sweat and not be able to take a shower, change in the parking lot of a venue, go in and perform for 3 hours, come home, everybody be asleep, unload my sound equipment, take a shower, alarm clock go back. It has been a grind, but the older I get and the more that I write about it, the more that I meet more people, the more doors that are becoming open to me. It's all worth it, dude. It's 100% worth it. Playing my guitar, not giving up, being 35 years old, and just not giving up, because I feel like God has blessed me just like He's blessed you with what you're doing.
Hmm.
God has blessed me with a gift, like my calling. What you just talked about, I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to write stuff down on a piece of paper and tell you about it through song. I feel like I'm supposed to do that, and I'm at the point in my life to where I'm finally comfortable enough in my own skin and comfortable enough to say that out loud, that this is a calling, and it's okay to recognize it as a calling. It's not being conceited. It's not being coming off as any certain way. It's okay to recognize it for what it is, and it would be a disservice to yourself and to the people around you not to do it. Just like
Hmm.
what you're doing. I don't do what you do as far as all the work that you are involved in with the arts. I'm only concerned about Camm Lewis. You're concerned about yourself playing music and then everybody else. So I don't
Hmm.
do what you're doing. But what you're doing,
Brother,
it is a call.
I think it's funny to me. Like the gigs I'm playing now, the pay I get, it's going to pay those coming at Porch Fest. Like I don't touch
Yeah,
that. Like I put that
right,
right into the Porch Fest fund. And like
right.
when I look back on that, and like Mark, my right hand man,
Yeah, I
he
met
helps
him
me.
up there. What's
He
his
helps
last
me,
name again?
Wilson.
Yep,
And
yep, we're friends on
he
Facebook. Yeah.
yeah, he helps me with sound and everything, and like we talk and plan, and he'll play lead guitar with me on my songs, and he always gets on to me. He's like, you go play a show and make $300, and you just allocate that toward whoever
Yeah,
is coming to play. And I was like, that's just
yeah,
where we're at right now, man. It's not about me.
right.
It's about what we're building.
Yeah.
Just hang
Yeah, it's
out.
what yeah. You're investing in your opportunities, man, is what you're doing. And because of you doing that for the artists last year, I played multiple songwriter festivals since I played Porch Fest. Nothing compares with how you took care of us. Nothing has even come remotely close to what you did for the artists at Porch Fest.
I appreciate
But
that.
that's because it's your calling, man. And I firmly believe that, because I know you personally. I've known you for a while now. I know what you've been through. So I know where you started at with this, and this is your calling, man. And I'm happy for you. I genuinely am happy for you, man. I really am.
Well, brother, let's walk the dog on this one. Let me ask you
Yeah.
one last question and we'll close shop.
hmm
What was your favorite part of this conversation?
Uh, giving you your credit. That was my favorite part of this conversation. Giving you the credit you deserve, man. That is honestly, I know we come on here and we just talked, and we might have talked about something for 10 minutes, something for 30 minutes, and it's all just us having a conversation. But that was my favorite part, man, because I appreciate you, Alan. You know, I,
Thank you.
I'm just a guy that likes to play music and likes to talk to people. I'm a socialite, man, and I like to eat pizza. And you let me do all those at Porch Fest. And dude, I'm looking forward to PorchFest 25. I can promise you that the closer it gets, the more I'm going to be pushing it, the more I'm going to be promoting it. And I've been telling some friends down here, some really popular and prominent people in the music business, that they need to probably make their way up there and meet you and get this thing really, 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 really going. So
I would love for this thing to have some vines and it take place in multiple places. We're already talking about Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, and
yeah,
we'll talk more about that when the time comes. But there's a
yeah,
we're cooking up a pretty cool little future with Porch Fest and
yeah,
things of the mix. But Cam, thank you
yeah,
so much for your
absolutely,
time,
man.
brother.
Yeah.
The
All right, cool,
Juco
Alan.
King, you are about to hear it. Enjoy Camm Lewis. Thank y'all so much.
All right, Alan.